Hey everybody, good afternoon. This is Sonya with Solminod. I am coming to you from my home here in the quarantine in a suburb of Minneapolis, Minnesota, where everything began that fateful night when our brother George Floyd was murdered at the hands of a corrupt police. So as I had mentioned earlier here on the Solminod show with Sonya, I'd like to thank you for joining me instead of just having one show. There's so much that I want to share with you, so much that is on my heavy heart that is so disturbed. My soul is not well. It will be well. The Lord is my strength, and He is strengthening me. Amen. But we need to keep the main thing the main thing. And so I am going to come to you in breaking up the subjects here into different segments so that you guys can share this amongst your community based on the subject matter that you find most interesting or that pertains to you. So I had just completed wrapping up a segment here that was reaching out to my Caucasian sisters. I have been inundated with calls and texts, emails and messages asking for help. They are seeing and recognizing most for the first time in their lives their indifference, their neglect, their denial, and they have been really a part of the problem all this time, and they're saying, I want to start today, and I want to be a part of the solution. What can I do? How can I help? I have so many questions. Can you help to clear things up? And so we just covered a few things there, and I've given out a few tips, but don't forget that you can also reach out. Anybody can reach out to your local NAACP chapter, ask how you can help, how you can donate, how you can make a difference, and they will be gracious and happy to receive your assistance. So please reach out to them. And I don't know if I had mentioned, but I always recommend peaceful protesting. Please go out there, protest loud and proud or on your knee peacefully, just as Colin Kaepernick had done against police brutality, and for justice for all George Floyd and Sandra Bland and Tamir Rice and Michael Brown and all of them. You guys were in the middle of a revolution, and I believe that reformation is coming. This is a movement. I am grateful that I get to just play some tiny little role here from my home and covering the rally the other day, the Floyd family rally. It was so moving. I just wept the entire time. It was so moving. So my heart is full. I have compassion and empathy for the situation. I have been outspoken my entire life, and I will continue to be. And so anyway, this segment here today that I want to cover is me just coming to you, those of you who have suffered at the hands of injustice and prejudice and discrimination. Those of you from the LGBTQ community, those of you, or perhaps your grandparents, this could stir up some painful memories for you, but the history of America and the attacks and the injustices against well, first and foremost, I need to give respect where respect is due. Our Native American brothers and sisters who owned this land. This land was theirs, and we came and we robbed and we raped and we murdered and we stole from them. And to this day, they continue to be on the receiving hand of these injustices and racism. And then we have when the Italian Americans came over, and when the Scottish came over, and when the Irish came over, and so many of our Asian Americans. And let's not forget in the 60s when our brothers and sisters came here from India, and how they were mistreated and abused. And dear God, let's not forget the Japanese internment camps, and how our Japanese brothers and sisters were treated so unfairly and unjustly, like animals, much like the precious children here down on the border in the last year or two who have been stuffed into cages like animals. We have a dark history in our nation, and this is not what our nation was founded on, and our nation was supposed to be birthed and rooted out of God's love and equality for all. And I hope you know, I was about to say you and I both know, but you may not realize, but the Constitution really was not written with the Black people in mind. They were not even recognized as a whole person, and so therefore they would not even be able to vote. And so people are talking about freedom and equality for all. Well, this community has been in bondage for 400 years, and I'm coming to you today, to those of you who have been marginalized, you have been unjustly treated, you have been hated for whatever reason, set apart because you are different than. Surely you can relate. You've been there, you have felt the pain. You've heard the stories from your grandparents. If you were of that generation, you remember well. I've heard the stories. They're horrific. Every time I'd hear a different one, all they would do is just weep and just say, dear God, dear God. This is all sin. It is evil. It is from the pit of hell. We do not support it. We do not condone it. We do not get behind it. And I'm asking all of you once again to join with me, to join with us in this revolution, to stand up and say no more. This is unacceptable. We will not stand by. We will not remain silent and do nothing. Now is the time to join this revolution peacefully and speak out. So for those of you who understand and have experienced any sort of prejudice, I come to you and I ask you to perhaps reconsider your stance on this. I ask you to remember your own people group. Remember those stories. Have a heart of compassion, and I'm asking you to rise up. And I also ask you to be bold within your own community. And when you're having those difficult conversations, or when your friends or your family or your colleagues are speaking out and they're sharing derogatory jokes that are racist and they're hateful, please don't join in the laughter. In fact, I ask you to rise up and be bold and correct them. Let's put a stop to this once and for all. I pray that God would just minister to each of our hearts and just reveal any little pocket of hidden darkness or hidden racism, and of course there's many of you who have been overt and outwardly spoken with your racism, and you can start over fresh today and have that heart of compassion and empathy and truly stand up for justice and for a complete reformation of our judicial system, of our prison system, of our government, and that you'll do everything that you can in your power with your platform and your influence to make a difference. So I just wanted to recognize today that even though most of these groups, it was for a season, surely you can remember and you can relate. You know how it has tugged at your heart in the past. So I just pray that God would tug at your heart today, and that you would join this revolution, join this movement here in honor and in memory of George Floyd and every other one whose life was taken from them. I thank you so much for your time. I value your time, and we thank you for your willingness to come alongside us at any capacity. Everything helps that is positive and productive for the good and the fairness and the freedom and equality for all people. All right, so y'all be blessed in whatever you put your hand to do. I hope that you receive this in the right spirit, and that you will put this in your tool belt, and that you will put this message to action so that you too can make a difference and be a part of the difference that you want to see. All right, God bless y'all. Until next time, ciao.